Hi there. I thought that I would make another video for our amazing family and friends who've continued to hold us through such an intense time. And we've just received so much love and support and cards and cranes and flowers and food and just love, so much love. And I wish I could sit down with each and every one of you and not only offer our gratitudes, but share, just about this journey and about James and us and all of that. So yeah, I thought I could maybe make another video since it just seems to be a nice way to connect when our capacity is still quite limited. And yeah, I had hoped to make another video before James was born, and just share about a little bit more about the pregnancy and all the things. But of course, James came a little bit earlier than we expected, and so that didn't happen. But I thought that I could do it now, and I had a moment of just really wanting to connect and say hello and share in these weird COVID times where it's hard to be together. So yeah, I guess, where do I want to say? Where do I want to begin? Well, one is like, clearly we are so deeply still in this process, and having just lost James a few weeks ago and navigating this side of everything is both heartbreaking and heart-opening, but it seems to be a day-by-day process, as this whole journey has been, to be honest with you. When I last recorded that video, and we had made the decision that we would carry him, we felt both a great sense of relief, but then also a new challenge, which was to lean into all the unknowns of what carrying him meant. We knew it meant that, he would, following his lead, that he would, live his life out on his terms, but the level of which the unknowns that hit were tremendous. Not knowing, would he pass in the womb at any moment? Would he pass in birth? Would he live a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, or 10 years down the line, would he be one of the trisomy kids who decides to live for a period of time? And so, the level of energy to really surrender to not knowing and committing to not knowing took a lot. It's a bit disorienting on this side, actually, to have that part complete, to know, what his story was, at least up until this point. But then the other piece that happened was that we needed to really think through if he was born. And that brought a level of intensity that was deep. I don't know how else to say it. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of existential soul searching, a lot of hard conversations between Sean and I and with the medical team, and we really worked really hard to define and uncover and come up with language around our North Stars as James's parents for his life, and how we would meet him if he was born alive, which he was, which we were so lucky that happened, even though we had hoped to have more time. But as we kind of kept moving through it, our first initial thought was that we would choose comfort care, that we wouldn't, do interventions or anything like that. But as we sat with it more, things shifted yet again. And kind of our North Stars were that we wanted to support James in living out his natural life with dignity. And then as we and the medical team kind of helped us by asking us really hard questions, what does dignity mean? And we realized that it was a continuum. It was a gray area that we didn't know, that was somewhere in between not causing him undue suffering, putting him through things that were for us because we didn't want to let him go, or, all of that. But then also, on the other side of the spectrum, also being reverent and responsive and supportive of a will to live if he was showing us one. So that became our language. And then we worked with the medical team, of course, to kind of, what does that mean in real time? What does that mean? What are the choices that we might face? What are the millions of different ways this could roll out, including birth preferences and interventions and all kinds of things. And, in the end, after educating ourselves and feeling into it, we got to the point where we had to once again surrender into the unknown and trust that when James arrived, we would assess him and be with him and trust that we would know what to do. And so, we worked hard to set a tone with the team. We wanted things to be sacred. We wanted them to be special. And we wanted them also to be really high level care for all of us, not just James, but for Sean and I and for our kids. Right? A lot of anticipatory bereavement support, things like that. So that was an intense part of the process, and then the pregnancy was unfortunately pretty uncomfortable for me, and I think it was also just after we kind of got those kernels, those North Stars, the waves of emotion began to flood, and a lot of the grief that we were going to lose him as he was growing in my belly, as he was moving, and as I felt him. And alongside that grief, there was a lot of joy too. There was a lot of a family of 5 and times with the kids and just trying to really be present with him while we had him. And there were so many beautiful things that happened and beautiful moments. And I will say that even alongside all the grief and all the pain, there was so much beauty. And we're really grateful that we got to be with him. And then, he decided to come. He came early at 32 weeks, and his birth did not go as we had hoped or expected. My water broke in the middle of the night, and I had a strong urge that we needed to get to the hospital quickly. Unfortunately, my placenta abrupted, and I needed an emergency C-section because I hemorrhaged, and I'm totally okay, but lucky that I was at the hospital when it all happened. And obviously you know, having a C-section was something that we were hoping to avoid, but it didn't work out that way. So, you know, James came out and initially was not doing well, but once we could get together, once I left the OR, they wheeled me from the OR to the NICU, and you know, we decided to put in the breathing tube to give him help with breathing, and once he kind of got into our arms, he stabilized. He was still struggling. He was his body was not well at all from the get-go, but I think he decided to gift us those 2 days with him and to give us this really extraordinary kind of experience of love. And so, yeah, that's what those 2 days were. He got to meet the kids. We thought we were going to have just a short amount of time, and we ended up having over 3 hours as a family, up on this kind of rooftop Serenity deck. We had an unbelievable photographer who we got connected with through a family friend who came and drove all the way down from Tahoe from the moment I texted her, you know, to be with our family because we had made a connection. There was just so many things, and the team at Lucille Packard was unbelievable. Both Sean and I were so touched. I mean, these people who had cared for all of our children so beautifully, and we just felt so loved. They really, every single person honored us, honored James, held it in such a beautiful way, and we were so fortunate. And yeah, I mean, someday I'll share the ins and outs of the details of all of those 2 days, but by the second day he was showing us signs that he was suffering, that he was not doing well, and that we needed to really, you know, stand behind our word and support him. And both Sean and I mean, obviously that was a very painful, hard moment and decision, but we knew in our hearts that it was right and that James was showing us that. So, you know, we made a plan, and his death, I'm not really ready to talk about it, but it was beautiful too. And I keep using that word because it truly was. So anyways, yeah, it's standing in this crossroads of a broken heart and complete awe. And I guess that's where you all come in. Thank you. We just want to say thank you for holding us and loving us and standing by our sides through life's most challenging moments. And now, you know, we've been taking it easy. We've been taking it slow. I'm clearly recovering. But we're doing well, and we're making plans. The other thing I wanted to share is that we are planning to take James to Ireland to bury him in Cleggan, where Sean is from, where he will be with ancestors and roots and Sean's parents and Sean and I potentially one day. And that feels hard and so right. So we are planning to travel COVID bearing on the 25th, and the plan hopefully will be to bury him on the 6th of March. And we would just love and invite, if you feel called that day, to light a candle for him and to just invite him to rest in peace, and invite us to have the courage to just be with him in that final place. You know, I feel his spirit everywhere with me. I feel it when the Blue Jays come to visit, and, you know, there's no doubt that my belief knows that his spirit is with us. But that will be a kind of a piece of his human journey, right? Like the completion of that. And then we will have a bigger memorial, or our hope is to have a bigger memorial with the greater community sometime in May, when maybe COVID's a little bit better, but we're working on that and hoping to have a online option and all of that. And yeah, I think that's everything I want to share. I guess we're doing well. We're doing okay. Somehow. Sean's doing well. The kids are great. They're feeling it too. They're missing him. We're all just missing him. I think that's just gonna be that way for a long time. Probably ever. But I think we also feel at peace that he came and he did his little journey, and that we were with him, and that he gifted us this amazing experience of love. And I really believe that his little life purpose and his little life story is still unfolding, and so I'm just listening deeply to it and for it. And yeah. The only other thing that I wanted to say was just that so many people have asked about a fund or some place that they might be able to contribute in honor of James and our other two kids as well. And we are working on it. We are ready to give back to help families, other families. And so we're working to figure out how to do that. So stay tuned if you're interested. And, you know, I think what's really on Sean and I's heart is just to provide support and resources to families who have either a neonatal diagnosis or a neonatal loss, which is what our story has been. And we've been so lucky to have so much help and resources and support, and it's made all the difference to meet these challenging times with a lot of courage. And so that's what we want for every family that, you know, is given these circumstances, that they'll be given whatever they need to meet it with as great of courage and grace and just as best they can. So that's our hope, you know, and that, you know, funds would go towards a million different things, you know, for that. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. That sounds so weird. Anyways, we love you all. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you think of us on the 6th, we just invite you to light a candle for James. And we'll be obviously in touch for the memorial and the details of that to come. Sending so much love. Talk soon. Bye.